Hey yo, I'm gonna change it up a bit, so today we're not gonna look at any superhero stuff. Instead, we're gonna do some spooky stuff from the old Journey into Mystery series, and today we'll just take a look at the first issue. Alright, so we have 5 different stories, not counting the prose one, cause I ain't reading all that. So let's take a look at story number 1. There's this weird hobo looking guy sneaking into a cemetery, and he grabs these flowers from a brand new grave and then dips out of there. The whole time this batch is flying around him too. And across the city, a bunch of other bums are doing the same thing. They all meet up with each other right under the only working light on the street, so it's easier for people to catch them. Then they knock on some door and this funny looking bald fat guy opens the door with George Costanza glasses.
How could you say that to me? I can't believe this!
George invites them all in, and this dude has a florist shop. So he's out here scamming people with cemetery flowers and also the bums by giving them a few coins for their honest work, while he expects to make at least 50 bucks. Honestly, I respect it, bro's a hustler. While he's admiring his merchandise, he gets 2 knocks at the door, and it's literally Count Dracula looking for flowers. He picks out a bunch of flowers he wants, and the whole time, George Costanza's all happy thinking about how much money he's gonna make off the sale, until Nosferatu leaves and he notices he didn't get paid at all. So he runs after the guy through the streets and follows him down an alley. He sees something that turns him yellow, and next thing you know, he's on the ground like Peter Griffin. I don't know if he's dead or just fainted, but either way, he saw all the dead people walking around with the flowers he paid the homeless to steal. Story number 2 starts off with a bang, showing us a lunatic murderer drowning a purple shirt guy in dirty water. Apparently this weirdo is a failed broke writer, which means he's most likely a comic book writer. The purple shirt guy is an actually successful writer he lured down here to kill and steal his ideas. He gets out of that nasty boat and heads back to finish purple shirt guy's book, but he just doesn't have the skill to make his own writing good enough, and also has 30 chapters left to write, so he's cooked. But after going to sleep, he gets woken up by a pair of hands using his typewriter, and somehow they finish the 30 chapters right then and there. So he takes it to his publisher and he gets offered a terrible deal, but these hands show up and choke the publisher out, and everybody thinks he killed him himself, which means he has to go on the run. He tries to hide, but the hands give away his position and he gets locked up. The cops keep trying to get a confession out of him, but he keeps telling them the hands did it, until the hands pull up and sign the confession for him, which means he's gonna be put on death row. Before he gets hanged, he gets his lawyer to have the publisher's body checked for fingerprints in order to prove he didn't kill him. But there isn't enough time and the rope goes around his neck, until a guard runs in with a message from the governor. It says the publisher didn't have any fingerprints on him and died of a heart attack, making this guy innocent. But those hands appear again, and not just the hands, but this time, the whole ghost of the writer who was murdered earlier shows up to make sure he's hanged. So, justice is ultimately served. In the third story, we are in front of a haunted house with this creature chewing on a skull. What is that? Is that a rat? I have no clue, but these amazing captions say, "The door grinds back and forth on rusty hinges, open like the toothless gap of a hag's mouth. Let's go inside. Come on, you're not afraid. You won't be alone. See, there's someone in there." This guy carefully is walking through the haunted house, making sure it's completely empty. Apparently, he's trying to hide from someone or something. But looks like that's coming to an end soon because someone is approaching the house. The door opens and 3 people walk in, a couple and a fat guy trying to sell them this old house. He tells them people around the neighborhood don't want it since they think it's haunted, which explains the low price he's offering them. Whoever this man in the coat is doesn't want them to move in, so after their flashlight goes out, he approaches them with his arms in the air, very scary, and they all run away. And for anybody wondering, this is what the guy looks like, and this is what he looks like after literally going inside the wall. Our fourth story has us in an abandoned subway tunnel with a man named Frankie Arno. He got his heater ready to blast on his ops cause he's on the run from the cops. But there's this weird person coming up to him, so he gets ready to shoot, but then he sees his own face. It's really just his friend Pete hauling around a dead guy named Raymond Fleet that looks exactly like Frankie. The plan here is to make the cops think Frankie is dead while he's really living life as Raymond. Pete starts digging a hole for Raymond, and then Frankie out of nowhere betrays him and shoots him, which kills him to death. All this just to keep his secret safe. Frankie gets out of the tunnel and goes to Raymond's house, and then 2 guys show up to pick him up for a speech Raymond's supposed to make. Bro tries to get out of it, but it doesn't work, so he just has to go with it. They drive up to a building with barred windows, and Frankie doesn't like it, so he starts getting violent with them, but gets socked in the temple. He wakes up in a cell with a bunch of freaks and tries to convince the guards to let him out, telling them his real name, but even the guard doesn't believe him and tells him he'll be locked up in this asylum for life. That's crazy. Okay, our 5th and final story today is about a criminal who robs and kills for money. He ends up getting a job as a diver in order to get away from the cops, but his employers will soon regret hiring him because he's planning something against them to gain a chest of treasure for himself. He gets his gear ready, some dynamite lit up, and plunges down to the bottom of the sea right before the dynamite goes off, blowing a hole in the ship. He gets to the treasure and starts heading for an island, and once he gets there, a tribe goes in to attack him, but one of them stops the rest, thinking he's a water god named Ironhead. So they basically force him to live there, and if he takes the helmet off, they'll kill him for not actually being the water god, but if he doesn't take it off, he'll just end up starving to death. For 5 days, this guy is trapped on this island and begins to show weakness to the tribe. So one of them just decides to chop his head off, proving he isn't a water god.